Alright guys, today we're going to do a comparison video here. We've got two mini driver sets, Craftsman, Gearwrench. They're both 35-piece sets and they both cost about 20 bucks. So with that, let's open them up. Alright, first of all, the Craftsman box has a lot sturdier feel to it. It feels a lot more robust, right? So the plastic feels thicker, the latch feels stronger, everything just feels like it's a little bit better built as far as being able to handle some abuse, like whether it be around your shop or out in the field or whatever you got to throw at it. But whereas the Gearwrench feels like something that you would have at home more or less, where you just sit out on your bench or maybe in your toolbox whenever you need it, you go to pick it up. But you got to be careful when you're picking this up too, because this little button, this little tab right here, opens that lid. It doesn't take a whole lot. Whereas with this, you can toss it around, do whatever. It's not going to open up easily. This, yeah, it's not really made, in my opinion, to carry around as much. Okay, so right here, the Craftsman, it's got this nice sturdy tab here. There you go, that snaps off. And here we go. Alright, now, and like I showed you before, the Gearwrench here, just push this little tab or button and it releases this top here. And this top feels kind of chintzy. Here's another thing, this lid, it's got a nice steel rod going through it for the hinge, whereas the Gearwrench more or less, yeah, that'll hold, but it's not something you want to pound around too much. You got to be a lot more gentle with this case than in this case here. Okay, so like I said, they're both 35-piece sets. There are definitely some differences in these once you open them up and see how they laid them out or the size of the bits that they use. But yeah, so okay, first of all, the thing that probably stands out the most is the size between these two wrenches here. So this one right here, as you can see, it's pretty small. Now, just because it's small, it doesn't mean it's not good, or it doesn't mean it won't hold up. Because in all reality, still has a solid feel and sound to it. The reversing lever feels solid enough. There's no slop. There's no play. Everything feels like it's put together decently. It's not going to just fall apart on you, or at least I hope not. But yeah, so... But then on this side, you just got a boxed 1/4-inch drive wrench on this end. So, all right. Now, as you can see, this kind of snaps into place. It's got these little tabs that snaps in and holds in place right there. Whereas the Gearwrench, it just kind of lays on there. Now, one thing I'm going to mention too, you might wonder what this is right here. So this is, I'm guessing this is meant to put on your belt maybe, or I don't know. I don't think I would do it because this thing will go flying all over the place. But on the back here, you got this, I think it's meant to twist. Yeah, so you can, I think it's meant for a belt. But the only problem with this is, boy, this, I guarantee you this would pop open, everything would just come flying out. I mean, if you're gonna have a lid that opens that easy, at least have a better way of securing the tools inside, and they don't. They're just sitting in there or floating in there. They're not really snapped into place. So I don't think this would be used too much. All right, with that being said, the Gearwrench Ratchet right here, as you can see, it's a lot bigger. Here, we'll do them side by side. There you go. you go. All right. Now, it's got ratcheting ends or ratcheting tools on both ends of the wrench, right? And it's got reversing levers on both of them as well. Now, in typical gear wrench fashion, in my opinion, the levers have a good solid look to it. They have a nice click to it. Very solid right there. All right. They snap into place. No slop, no play. So, and everything's really solid in there. Feels like it'll hold up good. Now, and another thing I like about this slightly larger tool is that these thumb wheels or thumb drives on the back, it has a nice grip area right here to where if you want to turn a fastener by hand instead of ratcheting, you can. So there's that. All right, and then same thing goes for the other side too. And as far as the tooth count, I'm gonna guess like a 70 tooth count or maybe a 72. It just feels like that. Whereas the Craftsman, well, that Craftsman is it has a lot lighter feel to it than the Gearwrench. The Gearwrench is a bit stiffer, and if you ask me, it does feel like it does need some lube in here. So compared to this little guy right here, but I would say the tooth count is about the same on both of them. Okay, so when you're ready to use it, pick it up. Here's the bit for the sockets. Now, if you compare them, they definitely went different routes when it comes to their designer style. All right, so let's put the gear wrench one in. There we go. Snaps in, holds in pretty good. A little bit of play or slop, whatever. Craftsman goes in nice and solid. For being such a small tool, everything still has a solid feel to it. Okay, now let's check out the side profile though. Now you see that the smaller tool is the deeper or the longer tool, which you would think it'd be the other way around. The larger one you'd think would have a deeper or longer profile, but it's the smaller Craftsman that actually sticks out further. So if you have a really compact, tight space, then this gear wrench might be the better way to go. So, but anyway, all right. So let's put a socket on. Let's go ahead and put on the 14 mil. All right, goes on solid. Feels solid, feels good. All right, let's pull that off. Now look at that. Now that's interesting right there, right? Boy, that was on there good. So this should have been able to stay there while you take this out. But then the whole thing comes out. That I'm not a big fan of. So I wish there was a way of locking that in there. So, but the only thing that locks it in is that little like a snap ring in there. But, well, I guess on a positive note, at least you know the socket's being held on there very well. Oh yeah, very well. So if you have to, that. Okay, so now let's check out the Craftsman. 14 mil, yep, there we go. All right, so that went on nice and snug too. It's funny because it's almost like this larger socket Feels a bit bigger than even the wrench that's trying to turn it. So good enough, solid. Okay. Now one thing I noticed too that I do like about this Craftsman though is that this reversing lever here is just down and clear of everything, so it's easy to hit. You don't have to dig around for it. At the same time though, as you can see, it sticks up a little bit, and maybe when you're moving you might switch it with your thumb, so whatever. Now that right there though, I'm not a big fan of, like as far as how far away the socket sticks from the body of the wrench. I like it to be a lot closer to it. But anyway, all right, let's pull it off. Well, okay, so that also does it too, where the whole thing comes out. So that's being held on there pretty good too. Okay, so put those back. All right, so let us put these driver bits away. Okay, now, as you can see on these Craftsmans, first of all, these things come out, I think. Yeah, there we go. They're also being held on there by little tabs, but if you need to, you can just pull one out, bring your tool with you, get something done. But as you can see, from what I can see, they're all the same size. And obviously they'd have to be because there's only one side here with one size, so they all have to fit in this end. Whereas the Gearwrench has two different sizes. Okay, so you got the regular size here. Yep. Right here. All right. Pop that in. Okay, so that's in the smaller side. Pulled out. Well, that is stiff though. All right, and then you got the bigger ones, right? So that won't fit in that side, but flip her around, throw her in there. There we go. So that's another difference between these two sets. And in all reality, if you are on something this big, or this size of a fastener, I would rather have a larger, I would rather have a larger end to deal with that larger size. Compared if you were to try to neck this down and make it work on small size. So I like that. All right, so let's see here. We looked at the bits. Let's look at the sockets real quick. Okay, so as far as sizes, so you got standard and metric in both sets. But I believe they offer different sizes here and there. So on the Gearwrench, you got 9/16, you got 1/2 inch, you got 7/16, 3/8, and 5/16. And in all reality, I think those are the most common sizes. Let's push this back a little bit. Those are the most common sizes when it comes to standard. Okay, now another thing I will admit I like is that when you look down in here, so you got the size of each socket there. That I will admit that I do like, because it's easy to tell. Like if you don't have one in there, that you can, okay, I'm missing the 9/16, or I'm missing the 1/2 inch. So yeah. Okay, so in the Craftsman, okay, I think I mentioned before, but yeah, these square posts with little tabs, they hold the socket in there nice, so it won't come out compared to that. This just moves all over the place. So anyway, all right. So Craftsman, they start out at 1/2 inch instead of 9/16, and then they go to 7/16, 3/8, 11/32, and then 5/16. So the Gearwrench has a 9/16, the Craftsman doesn't. The Craftsman has an 11/32, and the Gearwrench does not. So why they chose to do that, I'm not sure, but whatever. So all right, now let's let's go ahead and put these back. And then we'll take a look at the metric sizes real quick. But before we do that, I'm going to show you how they differentiate their standard and metric sizes. So, all right, so on the Craftsman, you have one solid knurl right there, and on the standard, you have 2 strips of knurling there. Now, I will like their identification is a lot larger than the Gearwrench one, so it's a lot easier to see what size you have in your hands. I'll show you 14. As you can see, the Gearwrench, it's a lot smaller. I do like that how they have mm for millimeter, but the it's a lot smaller than what the Craftsman is. So in that regard, I'd rather have the larger numbering on there. So okay. Okay, let's see here. Metric. So I believe they both have all the same sizes on the metric side of things. 14. You got 13. Yeah. You have 12. I believe 10. Yep. Gotta have a 10, right? And then 8. So they both have the same sizes in metric, but they differ slightly on sizes on the standard size. So now let's take a look at each socket. Okay, so as you can see, the Gearwrench has those little corners broached out in there, and that is a feature you want to have on a socket so the force doesn't get pushed onto the corner or the edge. It gets transferred to the sides instead of the edges. So in that regard, Gearwrench did the better job there. So all right, and I will admit the Gearwrench has a little bit more of a shine to it, but yeah. Okay, so as far as feel, yeah, they feel about the same. The Craftsman, when you eyeball it, it looks to be just a hair beefier. Not much, but it just has a little bit of a feel. Like I said, when you eyeball it, it feels just a little bit heavier than the Gearwrench. So anyway, well, yeah, I don't think I showed it yet, but with the Gearwrench, so this is how they differentiate them. The metric has this knurl all the way around. The standard just has this groove or this line all the way around. So, and you know what? I think that's a better way of doing it compared to what the Craftsman. The Craftsman has knurling. You know, they use knurling for both of them. It's just that 2 things in the knurling and then 1 solid knurling. So I think I'd rather have the knurling and then the line, like the Gearwrench has. So okay, I think that just about covers it. Maybe you guys are wondering what I prefer, and boy, you know what, I have to tell you, it all depends on where I'm at. At work, I'd have to go with this Craftsman because it is so much more robust. And as we all know, in the work environment, it's just a lot tougher than the environment at home or in your home shop or whatnot. I almost guarantee you this set right here, it would have to just stay in my tool bag and not go far from there. And if I ever dropped it, everything would go flying. This would probably break. It'd probably break off back here. So in a rougher or industrial environment, I'm not saying these are made for, you know, that type of environment, but if you are in that environment, then I would definitely go with the Craftsman. But yeah, but there are a lot of things I like about the Gearwrench as well. So, and if I was around the house, you know, to a certain point, I'd almost go with this Gearwrench over the Craftsman. But if you're carrying it around a lot, if you are mobile on your job and stuff, just the robustness of the case itself and how the tools are held in a lot better than the Gearwrench. That's probably where I definitely go with the Craftsman. So I'm gonna give the Craftsman. Boy, I almost wanted to say I'll give the overall win to the Craftsman, but there's just some things about this Gearwrench that I really like as well. I like the larger size of the wrench. Yeah. If I could have this box and this set with this wrench, that would be sweet. And you know what? To tell you the truth, I probably could just mix and match, you know. But this is larger, and that won't really fit in there. So I'd almost have to just go with what's in here. So I'm gonna say Craftsman narrowly wins, but there's a lot of things I like about the Gearwrench as well. That's it. So. All right, let me know what you guys think, what you have out there, what works for you, what's held up for you out there. But as I always say, time will tell as far as how these tools hold up and how they perform and function over the long haul. So with that, like the video, subscribe to my channel. I'll catch you guys later.